Laudator Magnificat in secula.
Hello, welcome everyone. I cannot read all the names, but actually I'm waiting for the rest of the audience and the rest of the fellow interpreters to enjoy this live TikTok on the Sphinx Untold Secrets. So let's wait a little bit and see how it goes. So I truly welcome everyone. Mr. Assam, thank you very much for joining. This live is in English, I'm sorry. And I truly thank you for joining this live TikTok tonight. If you may press on the screen to show me some encouragement and some support, I'd be very much, thankful for you. Thank you very much. I think we should wait 3 or 4 minutes for the rest to join us. We shall begin exactly. I told them that we are going to start at 8 o'clock GMT +2, which is the local time of Cairo, Egypt. Okay, Abu Faris, thank you for joining. Thank you for this user. We might also write your name so that I can call you properly. Okay, we have got also Musa Ahmed. Thank you for joining. Thank you very much. This live is going to be in English, I'm afraid, and I'm addressing actually the English-speaking communities worldwide. The English-speaking communities worldwide need to be aware of the mystery or surrounding the Sphinx, the Great Sphinx of Giza. So it's high time that some would actually volunteer to clarify some rumors, some other, let's say, misinformation about this very topic. We are thankful for everyone joining us, and there are some actually rules that actually not actually prescribed by me. It's by the TikTok algorithm, so that if you want me to continue spreading awareness and educating people worldwide, you may actually please press on the screen. This is something mandatory for going on, for keeping on this journey. So I would love to see some people hitting the screen. If you may, please. This is not a request, a personal request actually. This is something that is mandatory by the algorithm. It's by the artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence won't understand that you really support this content creator unless you hit on the screen. So I'm waiting for everyone to press on the screen. Please do, because it's going to be a very intense talk tonight. So if you don't know me, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Mohammed Rifat, 51 years old, born in Abu Dhabi 1971. So you won't have a hard time knowing my age. And at the same time, I wear many hats. To list a few of those hats, that I do work as a conference interpreter, English, Arabic, working for the United Nations, working for the European Union, working for all international entities, and also you may consider me an author. I wrote a book. It's only a single book actually that was published, but I wrote books. So one of my books was published back in 2013 by a very renowned Egyptian press house, and it was distributed in the International Book Fair. Anyways, this is a bit about me if you don't know me, because we need actually to engage. So I don't see yet any sign of pressing on the screen. You may do so accordingly. You may do so accordingly, please. So Again, once again, I have to reiterate that this is something mandatory by this platform. And I'm going to talk about the Great Sphinx in a minute right now, but I'm waiting. I'm still waiting. There are many Arab native friends here with me on TikTok, also along with other non-Arabic friends, of course, coming from China, coming from Japan, and the United States of America, Great Britain, and so on. So, all right, the Great Sphinx. I think also Salam Hamri, welcome Salam. Of course, I'm Egyptian. If you feel that I'm Egyptian for sure, but I'm a conference interpreter, so you know that we need to talk about the importance, the significance of our civilization. It is the oldest civilization ever. Egypt is the cradle of civilization, and no wonder people worldwide call it the mother of all countries in the world. Of course, I'm good at English, so this is my job. So what do you think? Thank you very much for the comments. If you may, might be written in English if you want to really support the content creator, which is my humble self. Khaled Zaki, thank you for joining us tonight. We're talking about the Great Sphinx. Maybe last week we talked about the Great Sphinx in Arabic, and this was actually a very important and significant live on TikTok about the Great Sphinx. And the story actually emanates from the viral video about the Sphinx closing its eyes. And they have been talking about this phenomenon. Some experts, I think there were many experts in Egypt talking about this phenomenon, and many, of course, people, ordinary people, talked about it, and they know very well that this is something unusual at this specific time. The world really witnessing right now at the moment very major, dramatically shocking and dramatically annoying, and it's not only COVID-19. There are a plethora of disasters, or I would say international disasters. So back to our subject. I think our dear friends, the English speaking friends are going to do the first housekeeping rule, which is actually pressing on the screen. I don't see any hearts popping out. I would love to see the popping out of those hearts so that I know that you really respect this content. This is a very serious topic. So I can see users. I don't see any names. I don't see any engagement. Up to now, we passed 8 o'clock. It's 5 past. The Sphinx, the Great Sphinx of Giza. Allow me to say that many conspiracy theorists actually talked about the Sphinx, and they are still talking, and it's really an endless riddle, an endless enigma. So maybe you've heard that Elon Musk said that even the Great Pyramids of Giza, the Sphinx, were really truly built by aliens coming from planet Mars. The Martians came and built the pyramids. They built the Great Sphinx of Giza, and actually I don't know what is the idea behind that. Have you got evidence, Elon Musk, that the pyramids were built by aliens? If you do have some a piece of evidence, so please provide everyone worldwide with this piece of evidence that the aliens built the pyramids and the Great Sphinx of Giza. And I'm talking to you live right now. So if you are following me right now, and I wish you do, so that you understand truly that you're talking nonsense. You're talking nonsense. If you show the world, the entire world, that the Martians, the green aliens, built the Great Pyramids of Giza and built the Sphinx, and we actually have no attribution to this great civilization. I want to really, underscore and highlight that the great civilization that we cherish is ours. It is ours. Not aliens and not this bogus. Not this bogus. Ancient Egyptians built the pyramids, built the Sphinx. They own this heritage. They do own this very heritage. So I'm still back to my main theme tonight, which is the Great Sphinx of Giza. I urge everyone who joined us tonight to press on the screen and to show the support. Not actually a request by me, it's a request by the TikTok algorithm. So let's talk about the Great Sphinx and how actually, what's the mysterious story behind it. I would love actually to bring to your attention that many scholars, many experts wrote about the Great Sphinx of Giza, and maybe you heard about Graham Hancock, Robert Bauval, and maybe you heard about Colin Wilson. But back in actually 1949, a very legendary Egyptologist and archaeologist, and definitely he is Egyptian, and his name is Professor Salim Hassan, wrote a very important reference. And I'm going to highlight some significant portions of this valuable book and valuable reference written by the scholar, the great Egyptologist, Professor Salim Hassan. If you don't know Professor Salim Hassan, allow me to tell you a bit about his biography. Professor Salim Hassan, PhD from Vienna in archaeology and Egyptology, of course, is a deceased, and is very well known worldwide among the clique of Egyptologists or the cohorts of Egyptologists. So Professor Salim Hassan is an authority on the subject of the Sphinx even before Graham Hancock, Robert Bauval, and Colin Wilson. So I wouldn't really recommend that someone would say, let's read the message of the Sphinx. You can see the green screen behind features this cover of the message of the Sphinx. Of course, I bought the book and I brought it from the United States 15 years ago, actually, because as I told many friends before, that I am deeply interested about this, in this very subject. So back to talk about Professor Salim Hassan and today's book that we are going to delve into this book, because this is the first reference and the authentic reference on the topic of the Sphinx, on the topic of the ancient Egyptian civilization. And please highlight with me Egyptian, underscore with me the word Egyptian, and this is very important. I will not again support any campaign saying pyramids were built by aliens, pyramids were built by another culture, pyramids were built by the whoever. So this is completely and utterly refutable. I thank again all of those who joined us. I cannot see a single actually interaction unless somebody joined. Nobody writes the names. We want real names actually. We want to press on the screen. We want to press on the screen, please. Kindly press on the screen to show support. And this would actually will look to me as the host, some hearts floating on the screen. So as I told you before, of course, I'm an Egyptian, of course, and I'm very proud, extremely proud that I actually carry the burden of this heritage. And as I told you before at the very beginning that I wear many hats. I'm a conference interpreter, I'm a writer, I'm a content creator, I'm a musician, and you name it. Back to our talk about Professor Salim Hassan, and he is the authority, he is the go-to guy when we want to know some good information about the great Sphinx of Giza. So this is the book, The Sphinx, its history in the light of recent excavations. So which year that witnessed the first excavation, maybe back at the time of King Thutmose. But if we talk about recent history, okay, so we can say that it was the year 1938, 36. And I'm going to quote from this book about the significance of these excavations, because you cannot actually really deal with this mystery haphazardly. There must be some scientific approach to deal with this riddle, this enigma. So I would say again, Elon Musk, please do not get yourself involved in our history. The Egyptian history is ours. The Egyptian history is Egyptian. All right. So enough talking about Elon Musk, and let's talk about Professor Salim Hassan in his amazing book, The Sphinx, The History in the Light of Recent Excavations. I would love to begin with the preface in the book, and I quote, he says in the preface, of all the monuments in which Egypt abounds, there is not one which stimulate the imagination to the same extent as the great Sphinx of Giza. Allow me to repeat, because it's really, really, really way important. This very sentence tells us two facts. The first fact, that Egypt has most monuments of the entire world. Egypt has most monuments of the entire world. And among those monuments are the Great Pyramids of Giza and the Great Sphinx of Giza. So I quote again, the magnificent man-headed lion which gazes eternally out over the fertile valley of the Nile, with its face to the rising sun. So again, the Sphinx of Great Giza, he's got the head of a man, but we would love to know what is the composition of this beast. Maybe back a week ago we talked about the parts of the Sphinx representing the body of a lion and the paws of a lion and the head of a man, and it was supposed to have wings of an eagle. So those who actually attended last week's live really could have appreciated the beast of the Sphinx. So the body composes of, as I said, represents a lion. This is number one, the body of a lion, the head of a man, the head of a man, and it was supposed to have wings, because the word Sphinx actually alludes to many other statues worldwide, and there are many statues that are sphinxed, correct? They do have the wings of an eagle. But the biggest and the biggest statue representing the Sphinx, and the most famous statue in the entire world, is the Great Sphinx of Giza, comprising 3 elements: the head of a lion, or the body of the lion, the head of a man, and the wings of the eagle. But in the Great Sphinx of Giza, actually, I will tell you even the secret about the great wings. This beast, this statue, was winged. So I say again, so of all the monuments to which Egypt abound, there is not one which stimulates the imagination to the same extent as the Great Sphinx of Giza, the magnificent man-headed, which gazes eternally all over the fertile valley of the Nile. And I also would love to underscore gazing eternally, because this is very, very deep, extremely deep. So I'd say, Salim Hassan says, who has not heard of the Sphinx, the monster whose very name has become by word for mystery? So we agree now that the Sphinx is not actually a statue made or erected for an Egyptian king. In this very case, anybody who actually pretends to tarnish well-established facts, and somebody would say, another Egyptian archaeologist would say, the Sphinx was built by King Khufu, representing the image of King Khufu, which is utterly incorrect. Utterly incorrect. And I'll prove to you here in this very book by Professor Salim Hassan, who wrote the book in English, originally speaking, so that the entire world would understand the mystery behind the erection of the Great Sphinx of Giza. So, get back to the bottom line here. Also, the Sphinx, it has been the theme of poets, painters, musicians, theologians, historians, and yet in spite of all that, it has remained the silent mystery of the ages. So it's not only a topic that archaeologists would talk about, but poets. William Shakespeare wrote on the Sphinx and wrote on the Great Pyramid of Giza. When Shakespeare wrote, defying every other poet, confessing his true feelings towards the ancient civilization of Egypt. And yet, and I'm quoting Professor Salim Hassan here, and yet the mystery has never been revealed. The mystery has never been revealed, and I'll tell you, in 1939, the ambitious Professor Salim Hassan was audacious enough to admit that the entire world shall not unveil the true nature or the true purpose for building such a gigantic statue. So when did Professor Salim Hassan start the excavation? And I'm quoting, when the way was suddenly opened to me in 1936. In 1936, the excavation, or the recent excavation by Professor Salim Hassan and his team began. And I quote again Professor Salim Hassan. I was saying, when the way was suddenly opened to me in 1936, the reader can imagine with what eagerness I hastened to set to work on the long covered site. So before that date, which is, I want you to jot down those very important information. Please grab a pen and a piece of paper, and if you want really to be very, very attentive with me, you need to use your hand if you are a kinesthetic people. So first of all, the recent excavation by Professor Salim Hassan and his team was in 1936, and he was truly eager, enthusiastic, amazing guys, amazing, because it has been covered for ages, maybe since the period, or if we may actually use the correct word, so we'd say the epoch of the dynasties. And we're going to talk about the old excavations. All right. I would like you also to be proud. If there are any Egyptians here viewing this significant live, I want you to be proud. I want you to be proud that you are Egyptians. Because this professor, this luminary, this legendary professor, Professor Salim Hassan, the international archaeologist and Egyptologist, he used a very unique methodology in this excavation. And of course, as I told you, that he holds a PhD from the University of Vienna in archaeology.